Now I am recording. So whenever you're ready to kick us off.
All right, we are back. Super Fantasy Bros podcast live Thursdays now. This will be the same for every week moving forward for Thursday football preview as well as the week 2 preview in general. We'll be playing it before Thursday night football kicks off. So we'll be back doing cap or no cap every Thursday as well as going through every game, breaking down the analysis here. So let's get right into it. We're all back here. Obviously, Sean hosts myself, Matty P, T Gods, Q, cap or no cap, a very fan favorite segment at this point. We're going to keep
People
it going.
love
here.
it.
Cap or no cap.
It gets the people going.
Exactly. We're going to keep it going here. First one, Mitch Trubisky and Gardner Minshew for real after 3 touchdowns each. Cap or no cap?
Half cap.
Yeah, can I
One
take
cap
like
with no brim.
one cap, one no cap?
Half a brim.
Half brim.
You can do 1 cap, 1 no cap. I would assume
my
you're saying cap on Mitch, no cap on Minshew?
I'd say the other way
You
around.
can't assume, even if your assumptions are right.
Oh, Q, you're saying the other way around.
I say cap on Minshew, no cap on Mitch. But
a Mitch believer.
I think it's no. Don't call me that. That's disrespectful. Mitch is
It's
not
because Q's a Mitch.
Mitch is not a good quarterback, but I think he has better weapons than Minshew. So I think the performances are. There's going to be a couple more. I'd say I don't think he's going to do that what he did week 1 every week, but definitely more cap on Minshew because his team is altogether just terrible. But I can't say terrible because they already won week 1. But yeah.
Yeah, I would say Mitch has better weapons a little bit on the outside. I still like DJ Chark a lot. I think he's really good. Laviska Shenault's got some upside as well as Keelan Cole. So I think both are no cap, but to an extent. Like I'm not reaching for them to start them every week. I think they're matchup guys. Like you have to start them if they have a good matchup. It's the only way I would start them.
Trubisky does have the legwork. He can run the ball, so that gives him a little advantage over Minshew possibly.
They both had friendly matchups last week, but I think based off the fact, like you guys said, that Minshew has less weapons and he did it with like less artillery around him, I think that gives him a little more like up. I don't know what word to use, but
upside.
Yeah.
You're close.
All right, on to the next one here.
I didn't want to say upside.
Upside.
On to the next one here. Malcolm Brown is going to be the number 1 running back for the Rams. Is this cap or no cap?
Easy cap.
For now, it's no cap.
Like I said, the previous podcast, I think that this game is going to be one that's going to screw everything back up again. You think you know that Malcolm Brown's the guy, and the Eagles with a good front line on defense, I think it's going to screw it up, making maybe a new hot hand or like just going into week 3 for the Rams, not knowing who to put in your lineup.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think Malcolm Brown, I think this is cap. I don't think he's going to be the number 1 moving forward for the whole season, but for now, I would agree with T-Gods. He's going to be number 1 this week, at least.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree. They're going to roll with the hot hand.
Yeah, on to the next one here. OBJ is confirmed the number 2 wide receiver in Cleveland. Cap or no cap?
No cap.
No.
It didn't have to be said. It didn't have to be said.
I didn't think I would ever say that, but
and there's
no cap.
There's rumors of him being shopped. So I mean, why would they shop the number 1 guy? Jarv definitely better fit for that team. I don't know if he's actually better than OBJ because OBJ in New York was a different guy. But yeah, he's definitely the number 2 guy in Cleveland. Didn't have to be said by whoever made this report.
It was Sean.
I wouldn't be surprised.
No cap. I'm going to say no cap as well. OBJ is confirmed the number 2 wide receiver in Cleveland. Jarvis, they're going to be their go-to guy. He's got the good rapport with Baker, as good as it can be with that quarterback. I'm sticking with that. AP will be the number 1 running back for the Lions moving forward. Is this cap or no cap?
Cap.
Depends on how forward we're talking. I think the next couple weeks, if AP has another good week next week, going to the week 3, I think he'll be the number 1 guy. I don't think they want it to be him because they have Swift now and Carrion's still kind of young. But if he's the best, then why would you not start him? So I think he will be number 1. This is somewhat slight no cap, slight cap. A lot of these so far have been half and half cap, no cap.
Q, first of and foremost, I give you a lot of props on calling Peterson by his like real nickname, AD, not AP. And but he's not the number one back.
I don't think so either.
That's
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I'm
He
going
had-
cap 100%.
He had the most
cap.
involvement last week. I mean, I think they're just going to continue to build off that. He's just getting started. I think eventually he runs away with that job.
I don't think that catch will define him or should define him, but I feel
No.
like maybe in the back of everyone's mind in Detroit, like the team, and they could possibly be thinking about it when picking the starter. But
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if Swift's the guy next week.
yeah. I think
Yeah.
he'll be the guy every week.
He's
I think
supposed to be the
Swift-
guy.
I think Swift will be the guy moving forward. I don't think AP is going away though. I don't think he's going to be
Definitely
number
not.
one. but I
No.
think he's going to be getting 10 to 12 carries a
The
game.
nuisance.
Whatever
Matt-
team he's on, he's not going anywhere.
Matt Patricia's a very traditional coach, so I think he's got a lot of respect for AP. He's going to keep giving him the ball.
I could dig it.
On to the next one here. Jamison Crowder is a legit top 25 wide receiver. Is this cap or no cap?
That's I would say no cap because he's going to get the ball, like especially now with Le'Veon out. Who are they throwing it to? Who are they giving the ball to?
Yeah,
he's
they
right on
got
the-
it. The
Right,
ball
I'm gonna
has to
say
go
no
somewhere.
cap.
Yeah, he's
gonna
right
say
on the
no cap.
borderline of that top 25. I'm going to say no cap too. I think just the pure volume he's going to get for the rest of the season, I think will have him end up finishing top 25.
Are
barring
you
injury, of course.
starting him over Slayton? I guess it matchup thing, but Crowder being the only guy in New York, Slayton having a couple other, more than a couple other
I'm gonna
guys.
take Slayton over him only because I think like the more weapons you have on offense, I think that helps players a lot more than it hurts them because not all the focus is just on them.
Right.
Unless you're in Tampa Bay, then everyone's fucked because everyone's
Well, yeah, that's different. They're just like loaded.
The benefit for Jamison Crowder is he plays in the slot most of the time, so he usually avoids outside number one corners like Jalen Ramsey and whatnot.
That's true.
So I think he's still going to have an easier time. I mean, there are some elite inside corners, but for the most part, I'm taking Crowder over Slayton rest of season for sure. I think Slayton has a lot of upside, and even this week, I'm still starting Crowder even in a pretty bad matchup over Slayton. I have Crowder 37 and Slayton at 40, so both low end flex options. But moving forward, I like Crowder a lot.
Moving forward, I think I'm taking Slayton slightly over Crowder.
definitely.
All right.
Slightly.
On to the next one here. Dallas Goedert will have a serious impact on Ertz's value moving forward. Is that cap or no cap?
No cap.
No
Okay.
cat.
No cap in fantasy, no cap in real life. I think he's gonna have an impact on Ertz getting some sort of extension.
He's gonna have an impact on the Eagles winning games.
That's facts.
Let
I'll-
alone
That's facts.
let alone just on
I'd wait on that
decreasing Ertz's value.
because he does have some games where he's not all in on the offense, just like last year. There were some like
Right,
last week.
But
where he's just
his
like the
his
guy.
involvement in week one, I think that's foreshadowing of weeks to come.
I also want to wait for Alshon to come. We don't know when that'll be, but when Alshon comes back, who I think is going to be the guy, we'll see.
I think Rager ends up getting more involved as the season goes on and ends up being Wentz's favorite target. But I do
hope
think
so.
I think Goddard will still have a serious impact on Ertz's value moving forward. Like
For
Goddard
sure.
is a legitimate pass catching tight end, and I think
Mhm.
he's definitely going to be involved. He's not going away.
Big body.
And those yards after catch
Yeah.
come into play big time.
Yeah, and anyone who drafted Ertz over Mark Andrews feels a little bit salty right now.
Sorry.
Very salty. You are the saltiest of salt.
But you can't go wrong.
I had Ertz ranked over him heading into the season. I didn't know if
Yeah.
Goddard was going to be that involved, so we'll see. But I think it's definitely going to be a problem moving forward.
For sure.
Next one here, Emmanuel Sanders is now a legit wide receiver 2 for the Saints moving forward. Wide receiver
Okay.
2 in terms of like fantasy volume.
Okay.
I'm going
Mhm.
to say cap as a wide receiver 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say if it said flex, it would definitely be no cap.
I think he's a solid flex option. He has some upside to be a wide receiver 2, but I still just a little bit nervous. Drew Brees loves to spread the ball around.
Okay, well, first I thought you meant like within the Saints, obviously. That's
But then the
wide
Saints is going to be
receiver
the
two.
number 1.
But,
most likely.
Yeah, but I think if Michael Thomas is out this week, he's definitely a wide receiver. 2, I put an asterisk next to both their names. I have Sanders ranked inside my top 20, my top 30. I have him at 27. If MT's out, maybe he would move up a little bit, but he did get a lot of red zone targets when Thomas was hurting or out. So I think that's a good sign for Breeze and him, because he when he was in San Francisco, he did catch on the offense quick. He did become the number one guy there. So I think with MT out, he'll definitely move on, be a good guy there.
I think even with MT out, I don't think he is a wide receiver 2. He's definitely more of a flex option, because I feel like when the Saints get into the red zone, they're definitely going to be looking for Kamara a lot more, Jared Cook a lot more.
Murray.
Just like just as they did last season. I don't think Sanders is going to take many of those like red zone and end zone targets away. But I mean, he'll definitely get the catches, definitely get the yards, but the touchdowns kind of scare me.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, on to the next one here. Sammy Watkins is a viable flex option every week now. Is this cap or no cap?
Cat.
I think you got to give him like a couple more weeks, or maybe even 1 week, because he did the same shit last year. Scored like 40 something points and averaged 7 for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
He said same shit, different year.
Yeah, exactly. I'm saying cap on this one too. I would need to see a little bit more from Sammy Watkins before I feel comfortable starting him as a flex every week.
Definitely.
Definite.
On to another one here. Aaron Rodgers is back to being a fantasy elite quarterback. Back to being a bad man. Is this cap or no cap?
There's
Just
no
like-
cat.
That's another person where I want to give another week. Him and the Packers wide receivers. I just want to see him to do it against somebody else, not the lousy Lions defense. But I do have hope that he can.
Vikings.
Yeah. Sorry. I do have hope that he will. I'm sure after this week he'll be a top 10 guy. He'll be number 10 at least. I think I have him at 10. Let's see where I have him. I have him at 10 versus the Lions. Okay, so he's gonna go. He most likely will go off again.
I have him at 10 as well.
Maybe that's all I need.
I think Aaron Rodgers is he's a bad man. That's my guy.
And you're a bad biased man.
That is not true, but I mean, like, he definitely did have a down year. Even like the past couple years, he's definitely decreased in production. But I think he's like realizing what people are starting to say about him. He's like hearing all the noise, and he's just going to respond to it in only a positive way.
Him
he's
and
just-
Kyler.
He's going to prove all the haters wrong.
They made my hate list look bad because I had both of them on there, or at least me and Sean. I think had one of each on there, and they both had great weeks.
Yeah, I had Kyler as a sleeper next week. Definitely smashing Kyler this week. Top 3 quarterback.
Whoa.
Talk about him in a little bit. Anyways, I'm gonna say cap on Aaron Rodgers though, being a fantasy elite quarterback confirmed at this point. Like towards that top 5 Aaron Rodgers status. I just don't know if he's gonna be that consistently every week. Last week he had a couple weeks where he looked like Aaron Rodgers, bad man. But also 9 weeks last year, he was not a top 10
Just
quarterback.
Aaron Rodgers
Just
bad.
outside the top 10, just struggled.
Aaron Rodgers bad.
And he was QB 14 last season on a points per game basis. So I'm still a little bit nervous. I want to see it every week, week in, week out, before I say Aaron Rodgers is again a top 5 elite quarterback for fantasy football.
Trust me. I want to see it week in, week out too, Sean.
Yeah, I know you do. All right, on to the last one here. Cap or no cap, Josh Jacobs has a legitimate chance at being the number 1 fantasy running back this season.
No cap.
That's cap.
The volume is going to be there. They don't really have any receiving threats. That offense is just going to run through him, and he's going to run through defenses.
Do you know who Nelson Aguilar is?
Oh my
Dave,
God! You
stop
did not just
mentioning
bring
him.
him up.
Please kick him. Please kick him. Just
Well,
get
Get
him
him out of
off.
here, Q.
Get him off.
He was. I mean, he did run all over the Colts. I don't think he's going to be the. There's just McCaffrey's just way too good. Barkley, Zeke.
Barkley's 8 yards is too good.
He played the Steelers D, who's could be the
Also
best.
has a
in the
really
league.
bad O-line.
But there's still 5 or 6 guys I would take over Josh Jacobs. That's
I
not
think-
discrediting him. He did have 3 touchdowns.
I definitely think he has a legitimate chance. So I'm going to say no cap, but I don't think I'm going to be ranking him number 1 until I see it for at least a few more weeks. Like consistent, insane production like we saw from McCaffrey last year.
Wait till he
Week
gets-
1 is way too early to have a bold take on any player at any position.
Yeah, don't overreact to week 1 is definitely
Yes,
something
please
you
don't.
want to you want to refrain from doing. Give it at least 3 to 4 weeks before making most trades anyways, and dropping guys that you drafted with upside. Like if they struggle for 1 week, don't just get rid of them.
Yes.
Unless you're in our league, you want to make a trade every second.
Into today's sponsor, the Thrive Fantasy app for iOS and Android. Thrive Fantasy app is a daily fantasy sports app for player props and daily fantasy football. If you download the Thrive Fantasy app today and use our promo code SUPERFB, that is SUPERFB, and you deposit $20 or more, you will receive an instant $20 bonus. So go check out this app. Go win some money this Sunday.
Prop up, baby.
Yeah.
That's free money to make money. Like you couldn't ask for
Yeah.
anything more.
Get into
Exactly.
it.
Flip that 20 into 2,000.
You better be
Alright.
the parlay king.
All right, let's get into this week's game previews and rankings. So if you're watching on YouTube, I would fast forward just a couple minutes because we're going to preview Thursday Night Football first. And by the time you're watching this, Thursday Night Football will most likely have happened.
I'm sure
So
they're going
fast
to
forward
want
a
to
couple
watch,
minutes unless you just want to see what our takes were before the game happened.
or they just enjoy our voices.
We'll look good during this segment, so you might want to stay tuned.
Slow mo if you can.
All right. Anyways, let's get into Bengals at the Browns. Kind of a poopy Thursday
Hooper
night
Bowl.
game here. But we do have former number one pick versus this year's number one pick. So that's pretty much the headline of this game. Just to get the injuries out of the way. And Njoku is hurt. So Hooper's stock goes up a little bit, but I still don't love him this week. The Browns are kind of scary.
Yeah.
Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarv, do you guys feel confident starting either of them this week?
This is their game where if they do bad, then you start the chaos.
Yeah, this is their test.
But then
Yeah.
again, if they do well, I can see the people saying like, "Oh, it's just the Bengals, bad D."
Yeah.
But you want them to do well this game. They have to.
Yeah. After last season, like I'm just nervous on Odell in general. I have him as wide receiver 29 this week, more of a flex option. I'm still starting him, but I'm just very nervous. I have Jarv at 21. Obviously bias intended there. I love Jarvis Landry.
Intended.
I love Jarvis Landry. His connection with Baker I've talked about many times. So
Yeah.
I feel
I
good
think-
about Jarv, better than OBJ, even despite the questionable hip injury designation. He's always questionable with something, and he ends up playing well. So
Yeah.
Right.
This week I have Landry at 21, OBJ 22. So I guess I'm still hopeful in both, but I know that Jarv has the better chance of doing well at least.
yeah. On to the running backs for the Browns. Another kind of controversial thing here. Where do you guys have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt locked in for this week?
Chubb outside my top 10. He's number 14, while Hunt is right behind him at 19. And if you're an owner of either, you're not feeling good about Chubb, like we mentioned in the last pod. Like the way you drafted him, you shouldn't be expecting him to be ranked that close to Hunt, even though you knew they were going to be interfering with each other's workload. But if you're a Hunt owner, you're definitely starting him this week. You should be feeling good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got Chubb at 15 and Kareem at 18. So a little bit closer than you, but kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm nervous on both, but I'd probably start both if I had them.
Mhm.
Cincinnati is a pretty decent matchup. We saw Eckler and Kelly combined for 140 rushing yards. So they can definitely put up some decent numbers.
Yeah, I don't think either team is really going to have to rely on the passing attack. I think this is going to be like a very low scoring game. So I think both running backs have a chance to get the production out there.
Mhm. On the Bengals side of the ball, Burrow's pretty much a starter if like you're desperate. But other than that,
We're in
AJ
a
Green
two
and-
quarterback league.
Yeah, AJ Green and Tyler Boyd kind of struggled last week. Are you guys starting them? Do you feel good about them this week?
Start
Have
both
eight-
of them.
Yeah, I feel
Definitely.
better about AJ. Just he had a good game. He could have had the game-winning touchdown if it wasn't for the PI, I think.
Yep.
But AJ is my top 30. He's number 30 for me. Boyd outside of my top 30. I just think the experience and AJ being healthy, like what's there to be doubtful about now? He's saying he's 100%. So play him be confident as if he's 100% against the Browns D. I think he'll have a good game.
Yeah, right. I have AJ at 25. I have Boyd outside of my top 30. Just because I think that at any moment, if AJ Green really is healthy, he could go back to that AJ Green as we all know him and love him to be. And that is an elite fantasy wide receiver. And we're just waiting to see it.
Yep, I'm with you. I'm starting both. I think they're both flex options this week. I think they're both worth a start. I'm just a little bit nervous about Tyler Boyd. He saw a lot of volume last year, which helped him out. With AJ Green back, T. Higgins up and coming, John Ross healthy as well. I'm just a little bit nervous moving forward, but still starting him this week. You got to roll him out there against the Browns.
And they still have Gio Bernard in the backfield catching passes as well.
He aged like 50 years, and his like picture from this year to last year because of his mustache.
Yeah, and I think you have to start mixing if you have him. You just have to roll him out there again.
Have to.
Better matchup this week. All right, pick them for this game. Who you guys taking, the Bengals or the Browns?
I think I'm gonna go Browns,
Bengals.
All right.
I'm taking the Browns. I'm
but
taking
I'm
the
taking Browns,
all
but
the
I'm
way
not
home.
feeling good about it.
I'm
All right.
feeling good
Me and
about
Matt got the Bengals.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bengals.
Split it evenly.
Split it.
I'll be upset if the Bengals win just because I picked the Browns in a bunch of leagues. Well,
This is
another
Burrow's
league, but-
confidence booster game.
This is where Burrow goes
He
off.
says,
and
"I'm in the pocket like Burrow."
he starts feeling comfortable in the NFL, and he gets better as the season progresses.
I think this is just a bounce back game for the Browns after such a pitiful week one. Like
But
it's a
they-
wake up call after losing to the Ravens. They
Every
have
week's
to
going to
win
be
this
a
week.
pitiful week, Sean. I hate
How
to
think
long?
so.
Ha-
I don't
how
think-
long
I
have
hate
we been
to
saying
tell
this?
you.
How long have we
Long
been
as
saying
the
this
Ravens
about
are
the Browns?
elite. I'm taking the Browns. Let's move on before we get caught up too much here. Giants at the Bears. So is this a game where you expect Saquon to bounce back, or is that O-line really terrible?
He has to. He has to bounce back as a Saquon owner. I'm not panicking yet. Literally Saquon. He still had some pretty good receiving yards and the opportunities. The opportunities were there for him to run the ball. It's just he literally couldn't get off the line. I mean, you can't get much better than the Steelers D. So I think he'll definitely have a better game than he did last. He has to have a better game than he did last week.
I definitely think Saquon has a bounce back week. I mean, he struggled tremendously last week, and he's just Saquon. He is fully capable. He has all the talent in the world. I think he finds his rhythm, and he's back to the Saquon that we know.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree. Is Darius Slayton the number one wide receiver there this week, or do you think Shepard kind of has another good game?
Shepard is going to have
Slayton
a chance
is
every
the
week.
number one every week. Shut up.
Stop.
Slayton is the number one every week.
What's
I
gonna
agree.
happen?
I agree with Matt.
What
I
happens
think-
when Shepard has the better game this week?
He's still the number one target. Danny Dimes is going to be looking for Slayton.
I think Slayton
Slayton.
has the most upside of the three. I think Sterling Shepard will end up being the safer play throughout the season.
Ingram's irrelevant,
faith in
it
Shepard.
seems. So,
Well, that's my next question here is, do you have concern about Evan Ingram?
Oh yeah. Well, once again, it was the Steelers D that they were playing against, but there was the other two tight ends. I don't know. I don't know their names offhand. but
Levine, Toilolo, and I forget the other.
I
guy's
feel like
name.
that guy was on the Falcons or something. But
Ingram he had 7 targets though. Just throwing that out
Mhm.
there.
but he did nothing with it.
I'm not concerned about Ingram personally.
I'm not
not.
concerned about
I
it.
actually have Ingram as like the tight end I want to start this week. I feel like it's a big bounce back week for him.
Would I feel safer starting Jordan Reed? Maybe.
No,
No.
No
What the
way.
Q?
no. Big no.
Can we get this guy out of here?
If Kittle's off.
Huge hot takes
Out.
are getting out of hand lately. All right, on to the next one here. A-Rob, I have him as a top 5 wide receiver this week against the Giants.
Top
Good,
Interesting.
I have him
good,
at number
good,
8.
good,
top
convers-
5. I have him at 7.
good conversations with the Bears this week. He seems happier. I think this Sunday he goes off against the Giants trash secondary, just like Juju did last week.
What do you think their conversation was? I'm going to pay you.
Yep,
Okay,
that's
I'm
pretty much what
happy
it was.
now.
But that's
Yeah,
what
I'm
he did.
happy. I'm gonna play good.
They said they had a really good open conversation. So yeah, I mean,
No,
I'm pretty
but
sure that's
that
how it
does
went.
mean a lot because I mean, you look at Ertz last week. It didn't really look like he was like.
Yeah, you dropped
producing
the
it.
ball.
It didn't look like he was producing as much as he could because he was in contract controversy with the Eagles. So I think A-Rob definitely having positive talks with the team. I think that boosts him a lot. It boosts his confidence. He actually wants to play. So I think he's gonna go out there and show out.
Yep. Is this a favorable matchup for Montgomery and Cohen? Do you feel comfortable starting either of them?
No.
I felt good starting him last week, Montgomery, but I mean, he didn't do. He definitely, I mean, he did more than Cohen, I believe. But would I start him over who I have in flex right now? I would not. So I'm just gonna wait. He's probably gonna be my more of a fill-in guy. Hopefully, he has a good matchup at the time. But he has the potential. He gets the work. I think that he will eventually produce as to what people thought he was going to do.
Yeah,
I don't.
I'm nervous about both. I would still take Cohen just because he's going to be involved in the passing game, but I don't like starting either of them this week.
What if you're not in a PPR?
If you're not a PPR, then Montgomery for sure, but I still don't like him.
I don't like either.
Both
I don't
outside
like
the top
either.
30.
I would say a prayer before starting either.
Against a
one of them.
bad Giants defense, you saw what
I think
Benny
they have a
Snell did.
chance, but I don't feel confident starting them.
No.
All right. Anyways, on to the quarterbacks. Danny and Mitch, desperation plays, both of them this week. I think Danny has a little bit more upside season long, both where they have a pickup, maybe Mitch, if you're desperate. But other than that, let's just pick this game. Giants or Bears?
The Bears.
Giants.
I am taking the G-men as well.
I'm taking the Bears.
I'm taking the Giants.
Oh, I'm a dark horse. I'll take it. I'll be the black sheep out the group.
Bears got a crazy lucky win last week.
Black sheep.
I think the Giants have a bounce back week against the Bears. Easier
Giants
defense than
suck.
the Steelers. All right, next game here. Los Angeles Rams coming from the West Coast to play in Philadelphia against the Eagles. Now, let's just start with the Rams side of the ball here. Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. Which one are you preferring this week? And do you like either of them?
Whoever
like-
isn't being covered by Slay.
I like both of them,
Facts.
regardless of who's being covered by who.
Whoever gets covered by Maddox is having a big day.
Big
think-
day.
I think both are going to have tough matchups because Cooper Kupp's usually out of the slot. So he's going to be covered by Roby Coleman. So Roby Coleman's a
Okay.
pretty good slot defender.
Someone who knows the Rams.
But I don't think Slay is going to be following Robert Woods. I don't know if Robert Woods is someone he would really necessarily need to shadow. Usually shadows like guys that are like true number ones. Like I feel
Like
like he might just stay
Julio,
on his side of the
D-Hop.
field.
Right.
Okay, so
But
start Van Jefferson.
I would start both.
That's more of a Ramsey.
I would start both of them. I have Woods as my wide receiver 10. Kupp is 16. So I think both are still solid plays this week. Eagles secondary isn't perfect.
Yeah,
For sure,
I
for
actually
sure.
have Woods in my top 10 at number 9 and Cup at 15.
Yeah. So around the same spots there.
Yep.
Who is the Rams running back to start this week?
Malcolm Brown.
Whichever is better at receiving, I would
Malcolm
say.
Brown.
No one's really hitting the hole with the Eagles run D. So I guess if you're good at receiving, maybe Akers. I think I heard that's what he's pretty good at. So I would go Akers. But Malcolm Brown's going to start the game. We'll see how far he goes into the game.
Yeah, if Akers gets hot, might end up his game. But I'm starting Malcolm Brown with the most confidence.
Yeah.
But I don't like really
confidence
any of
is
them
still
this
low.
week. I got Malcolm Brown as my 30th running back this week, and I got Akers at 34. So I'm not really too confident on either.
Yeah.
Is this a bounce back week for Wentz after a pretty hot first half against the football team and really struggled in the second half? Do you think Wentz can bounce back against the Rams?
It's gonna be tough.
With Lane Johnson?
Last week he versed the Washington football team's defense, and this week he has to go up against Aaron Donald. And mind you, last week he got sacked 8 times,
8 times.
and he also has to throw against Jalen Ramsey.
Now, I'm pretty confident that Wentz is going to bounce back with Lane Johnson coming back.
Bias.
I'm just a little – I'm definitely nervous. Don't get me wrong. I'm not confident. I'm not saying he's going to be a top 10 quarterback this week. I got him at 13. I think you have to start him if you have him, depending on
I've
your
got 14,
options. But I am definitely nervous. But I think with Lane Johnson coming back, Miles Sanders coming back, I think the offense feels a little bit more comfortable. And
Sean
I
McVay
am
is
just a little bit nervous about Wentz in
Doug's
general.
son.
Like, even though he had a lot of pressure on him in that second half last game, he also missed a lot of throws when there wasn't pressure. So hopefully he gets everything back straightened out this week.
Wentz beat the Rams on one ACL.
Yeah. Miles Sanders is
Well-
healthy, practiced fully. He should be playing this week. Do you have him as a top 15 option this week, or are you still a little nervous coming back from injury?
I do have him. I have him ranked 12. I think if he's playing, he's going to be involved. The production is going to be there. He's going to get the touches, and he's going to get catches out the backfield.
Yeah, I have him at 13. I think he's going to be heavily involved in the passing game. I think that week 1 against Washington showed that they need a good number 1 guy because they're
A
not
true number 1.
They're not relying on Scott or Clement. And it was more of a Scott game, so maybe Sanders will see the field a lot if healthy. But top 15, yeah, I have him at 13 this week.
Yeah, I got him at 21. I think he definitely has the upside. I'm just a little nervous just because of the hamstring and how it can be re-aggravated. And also Doug Peterson's play calling last week with the Eagles with the lead. We did not run the ball that much. The Eagles did not run the ball
Oh.
that much.
In their defense, they couldn't. They had no running
Right.
back.
Also, exactly, like Sanders wasn't playing, so I think Doug was like, we can't really run the ball. So they just
It-
try to air
it
it
was just
out.
bad
and it
all
didn't
around.
Work.
Yeah, rough game for the Eagles.
Rough
We'll see
game,
if it's a
very
bounce back
rough.
this week. Who are you guys taking this week in Pick'em? I'm taking the Eagles.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna come out and say it. I'm taking the Eagles.
They're home.
this week. Rams are coming from the West Coast. Teams always struggle
Matt?
coming from the West Coast.
I'm going
So I'm
Eagles.
taking
T
Eagles.
God's going Rams.
They're
But
home.
I also have bias.
No fans.
I understand.
Matt-
Yeah, but still, the Philly
Matt-
air.
It's still home.
The air in Philadelphia is
All right.
different.
Are you with me, Matt, or are you against me? I'm taking the Rams.
Listen, my heart made me pick Eagles in my pick'em league, but the Rams are gonna
Okay.
win.
All right.
The Rams
you
are
be-
easily winning this
Would you
game.
be surprised if,
it
the
is-
Eagles won?
I would not be
Yes,
surprised.
I would be surprised.
I would not be surprised. The Eagles have beaten better teams in worse situations.
They own the Rams.
If the Eagles lose this game, this might be a very bad season because they
Oh
got
my
some
god!
tough opponents.
Next
coming
week we
up.
play. Next week they play the 49. No, they play the Bengals and the 49ers.
And then the Ravens.
It gets
Yeah.
worse and
Then
worse.
the Ravens.
So
We need to get wins while we can, baby.
yeah. All right, on to the next game here. Falcons at the Cowboys. Is this the shootout of the week?
Oh yeah, for
Easily.
Big time.
I would say any Falcons game, shootout of the week.
sure.
Any
I would
Falcons
agree.
game.
Their defense stinks. Cowboys defense isn't that great either. And they also lost Leighton Vander Esch for 6 to 8 weeks or so.
Oh, that's
Yep.
bad.
That's
So,
a
I think-
bad John.
This is going to be a shootout. So definitely start Dak. Definitely start Matty Ice. Both are top
Dak top 3
7 to
this
8
week.
options. I have Dak top. I have Dak 4th. Matt Ryan 7.
Yeah, I've met Ryan 7, Dak at 3 with confidence. I'm sure you could switch out the top 3 or 4 a little bit outside of Lamar and Mahomes, but
Yeah.
they're both
Yeah.
gonna have crazy games.
I have Dak at 4, Matt Ryan at 6. I think they're both going to have very productive days against, like Sean said, neither team has a very good secondary or defense in general. And the Cowboys losing Vander Esch, that just adds to the clause that both teams are just going to be airing it out.
Yep. And Julio, Calvin Ridley, locked in. Are you starting Russell Gage this week, or are you just keeping him on your bench?
You have to have
Keeping him on the bench.
You got to
So,
be
like,
super desperate. You got to have the
me-
loss. Michael Thomas, Kenny Galladay, Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I
Me
agree, I
not having
agree.
either at the moment. I mean, I'm hopeful that they both play this week, but if I were to not have Kenny or Sutton, I would consider putting Gage in there.
Yeah. I still think even in this, like, it's going to be a shootout, so Gage is going to be involved.
Right.
Like, he might end up getting
A
5
100
catches
yard
for
game
50
though, I don't know.
yards, 5 catches for 50 yards, 4 catches for 60, something like that. Just like a solid flex play. All right. Gurley was limited this past week, played 46% of snaps. He did have managed to get a touchdown, so he ended up with 13 or 14 fantasy points. Don't remember exactly. Does this percentage of snaps hurt his ceiling, or are they just easing him into the offense?
Wasn't it a goal line touchdown also? So like, I guess yeah, it was. So that's like a good promise. They're going to use him in the goal line. They're not too worried about health there, but I guess it hurts the ceiling a little bit. I'm not too. Ito Smith is their backup, isn't he?
Ito Smith and Brian Hill both played roughly the other half of the game, so the rest of the 54% of snaps.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only up. I mean, it's the first game of the season for a guy that's known to be hurt, known to have issues with his arthritis. But I think as the season progresses, he will be used a lot more. I mean, they want him to be the Todd Gurley of old, so they have to play him more in order to get to that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think those 46% of snaps is kind of like concerning, considering that they know the history of him getting hurt. And I don't think it's just a case of easing him into the offense. I think they just don't want to run him into the ground this early in the season.
Yeah.
I kind of like it that they're limiting his snaps. I want him to stay healthy.
yeah,
But I mean, it's only going to hurt his production if they limit his snaps.
That's
Yeah.
fine. No one drafted him in the first round.
Yeah, I think you just have to temper your expectations. Unless his snap count gets ramped up throughout the year, we'll see. But 46% of snaps definitely hurts his ceiling. Without a
still have-
touchdown last week, you're looking at
Right.
7 or 8 fantasy points, and you're pretty disappointed. The touchdown definitely makes you feel good about it. I think he's still going to be an RB2 moving forward. I
Yeah.
got him ranked at 17 in a good matchup,
16 for me.
but I'm not going to feel
Yeah.
like putting him anywhere near the top 10 until I see him playing at least 60, 70% of the snaps.
Right.
Yes.
And he needs to be more involved in the pass game like he was a couple seasons
He needs
ago.
to do
was
work
number one.
outside of like of not lucky goal line touchdown, but something.
Yeah. On to the other side of the ball, the Cowboys, Cooper, Gallup, and CD. Are they all viable options to start this week? Obviously, Cooper with a lot of upside. Gallup and CD, are you starting them too?
Impressed by
Yes.
CD.
CD if you're desperate.
Yeah, you have to still be desperate to start CD.
Yeah, I think Gallup actually solidifies himself close to a wide receiver 2 this week against Atlanta. Pretty solid week last week. And Cooper, I got him close to top 5. I think I got him at 8 this week. So I think I'm confident in starting
Jeez.
him too.
I'm actually starting Gallup over DJ Chark this week. I mean, Gallup only had 8 fantasy points last week, but that was also a very low scoring game.
And he did get
But-
targets too.
Exactly. So I think the volume's going to be there. He's going to be productive. And like we've been saying about this matchup all day, it's going to be a shootout. So I think all receivers on both teams are going to get their share, but I think Gallup is definitely a start smart.
I'd hope for a big receiving game just because I don't want to see Zeke in that feed me tattoo anymore in the end zone.
Oh my God,
That's
that was
just
horrible.
disgusting.
Yeah. Speaking of Zeke, last point here. Obviously, you're starting him, no doubt. Is Zeke the number 2 running back moving forward for the rest of the season over Saquon? Like, are you regretting drafting Saquon over Zeke, or is that too early to call after
I think
week 1?
you can't overreact too much. Obviously, Zeke looked a lot better than Saquon. It would make me want to have picked Zeke over him, but I mean, as the season goes on, we'll see. Zeke, obviously, he's the 3-down back. He's a
Yeah.
workhorse.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he finished over Saquon.
I think
Yeah.
for the rest of the season, Zeke is definitely going to be the more consistent option,
Right.
the more safer option, just because he has the much better offense, a much better offensive line. He's going to get fed. He's going to get the volume. So, and he's obviously going to turn the volume into production.
Yep. All right. Who are you guys picking for this game? Falcons or Cowboys?
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Sorry.
I'm taking the Cowboys too.
Yep, clean sweep.
I was
Clean
actually
sweep.
expecting UT guys to take the Falcons.
I was close on the Falcons, but
Dak's my
their
quarterback. I
defense-
got to
their-
root for him.
Their defense is so bad. So I just feel
It's
like the Cowboys
hard.
are going to win the
It's
shootout.
so bad.
Just like the Seahawks won the shootout last week.
Teams seem to stoop to the level of the Falcons when they play, just like the Sixers.
Yeah.
If they're bad, they'll play bad with them. So we'll see.
On to the next game here. Carolina Panthers at the Buccaneers. CMC, no brainer. Don't even have to talk about him.
Yeah, got to sit him.
Are you concerned any about Godwin's injury, Mike Evans' injury? If they're
course.
playing, are you obviously starting them, or are you still having some concern?
If they're both playing, I'm starting them both. But
No matter what.
both of their injuries concern me.
Yes.
Because any injury at any time, like Sean said, could get re-aggravated. They could be out for the rest of the game, and then you're just sitting there watching your player do nothing.
So if one's out, you're gonna feel better starting the other.
Yep.
Yeah,
Definitely.
for sure. For sure.
Are you starting Scotty Miller this week?
No.
You need
No.
one of them. You
Only
need
if
one of
one
them
of
to be
them's
out.
out?
One of them
Only
have
if
to
one
be
of them's
out.
out. And
And even if
Both
one
of
of
them
them
have
out.
to be out.
I agree with you guys.
Gronk struggled a lot last week. Are you starting him this week again? Just rolling him back out there? Or are you?
Yes.
This is a big bounce back week for all the Bucks. You saw what the Raiders did to them last week. Once again, it's a new team. I just think that the Bucks altogether have a better game for at least the ones that are healthy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think you have to start Gronk. I'm still just nervous. We'll see how that goes there.
Like I said last podcast, you got to let him get back into football shape, like have more time on the football field, and he'll be all right.
Yep. DJ Moore bounce back week. You guys believe in that this week for sure against the Buccaneers?
For
I hope so.
sure.
Yeah.
I have
He
ranked
has
definitely
to this
nervous.
week.
I got him ranked at number 11.
Yep, exactly. Right outside the top 10, right at number 11, just like Sean.
If he has another good week, move him back into the top 10, depending on
For
matchups.
sure. Yeah.
Robbie Anderson, are you starting him this week as a flex after such a big week last week? Is he a must start if you have him on your bench?
After-
Must start. Maybe
Yeah,
not.
must start no.
Depends
Am
on your
I
options.
confident starting him? Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
got
it's
him
not
at 36. He's around that.
Starting him over like any
Chris,
other option.
How about Tyler Boyd? Are you starting him over Tyler Boyd?
I got Tyler Boyd at 34, so I'm very torn on that. If I need upside against who I'm playing, definitely starting Robbie
Robbie,
Anderson.
of
Yeah.
If I just think I just need a couple points, my other guys are going to have the upside, then I'm starting Tyler Boyd.
Yeah.
And the last piece here, obviously, the Buccaneers backfield has been strange. But is this a Fournette week? Does Fournette get more work this week, or is Rojo still going to be the starter?
I think
Rojo-
Fournette. Go ahead, Q.
I think Rojo will be the starter. He's going to start the game. He's still the most experienced in the offense, but I think this is the game that Fournette shows why he should be the starter. I think he'll have at least one touchdown. Definitely going to have double the carries he had the first game. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a better performance than Ronald Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do-
go ahead.
I'll let you go, Sean.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I like Ronald Jones as the starter this week. I'm still nervous about Fournette moving forward. I just want to see him get more involved before I even think about starting him.
Yeah, I definitely see Ronald Jones as a starter, but I also see this being the week where Fournette sees 15, 17 plus touches instead of just 9.
That's
Yeah.
enough for him to get in the end zone.
Pick them for this game: Panthers or Buccaneers?
Bucks.
Buccaneers.
Bucks.
This is their bounce back.
Yeah.
Bucks.
Everybody's taking the Bucks.
The
Yeah.
Bucks stops here.
I had the Panthers last week. They got upset. So I just feel like that hurt them. Bucks are definitely the better team here with Brady and everything.
Brady's in the bathroom. I'm upset.
On to the next game, 49ers at the Jets. Kind of a lower key game, I guess, because the Jets stink so bad.
Jets
Um,
suck.
Kittle's injuries pushing to play. If not, Jordan Reed stocks up. If Kittle plays, obviously must start. Speaking of must start, Mostert must start. Definitely
Wow,
starting-
you're really funny, Sean.
definitely starting Mostert this week. I like him
Yeah.
a lot.
Mustard is going to have a huge game.
Huge.
Solely because huge. Solely because I think that the 49ers are going to be up all game. So I don't think they're going to have to pass much. They're just going to run the ball, pound the rock, try and run out the clock.
If that's the case, don't be surprised if McKinnon has a bigger game. Also, he had 1 touchdown last week and could have had 2, but
Yeah.
a couple teammates got in the way.
Yeah, I think they'll still be involved, McKinnon and Tevin Coleman later, especially if the Niners are up big in this game.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
I like Mostert a lot this week. I got him at 16, pushing RB1 territory if he continues to put up some really big games.
Yep.
On the other side of the ball, Jets kind of stink. Frank Gore starting, Kalen Balaj is there. Obviously, I don't feel confident starting either unless
Please
you're
don't.
super desperate. Like you had Le'Veon and you had
Super.
nobody else as a backup. That's the only reason to start them.
I might feel confident starting Crowder of anybody, but that entire Jets offense.
I don't know if you guys saw this, but Richard Sherman was placed on IR today, so that could help out.
That
Crowder.
is true.
I think Crowder will be fine. I think that helps out Perryman for maybe his first breakout week. The Jets are going to be trying to throw the ball
I
a
like
lot.
Rashad Perryman.
I like
like
Perryman
him.
this week. I think Perryman, if you're looking for a desperate flex play, I think he could have that breakout game.
Not a
against the
bad
Niners,
option.
especially with garbage time if they're down a lot. All right, pick them for this game. No one else really relevant here. 49ers at the Jets. Who you taking?
Come on.
49ers.
Move on to the next game.
Niners.
I'm
we
not
already talked
saying-
about it being a blowout.
on to the
so I'll
next
take the
game.
Niners.
Angry 49ers. If I wish they'd score 50 plus, but they don't even have the offensive weapons to do that. So it'll still be a big blowout.
Next game we got here is the Broncos at the Steelers. This should be definitely an interesting matchup after they both had some pretty close Monday Night Football games. Melvin Gordon, is he the workhorse now without Philip Lindsay, or does Royce Freeman get involved a little bit?
Nope.
Come on,
Royce
man.
Freeman is not getting involved.
If I saw Royce,
Come on,
Fangio is a
man.
weirdo,
Come
man. He
on,
loves
man.
to run 2 running backs.
if
so I don't
Royce was
know.
on the field at least once during that game, he may have been. I didn't see him at all, but then I would have felt a little more confident with Royce being involved. But this is all Melvin Gordon has this backfield to his own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm definitely confident in Melvin Gordon's workload. Pittsburgh's defensive line, though, scares me a little bit. So that's
Stop
the only reason
Saquon.
I got Melv at 20 rather than closer to top 15
Yeah.
just because of that defense. The volume
right
is gonna
there
be
with you,
so
Sean.
you have to start him.
I'm right there with you. I got him ranked 20 as well. But like you said, I think that volume is going to be there with Philip Lindsay out. I don't think Freeman has much, if any, impact on Mel's
I
production.
agree.
Because I don't think like they're going to give Royce many touches over Melv.
Mhm.
So I think Melv is definitely a good start this week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cortland Sutton, if he's healthy, you guys playing him?
Of
Got to.
course.
I am. I'm
Got
excited
to.
to put it. I'm
So-
forcing him in
solid
there.
wide receiver too.
Yeah, I got him at 26 just because of the concern of the injury.
Right.
If he plays, obviously he could be a top 20 option for sure. He's got the upside. He's
Yeah, I have him at 20, hoping that
Yeah,
he's somewhat.
I got
normal.
him right at 28.
Jerry Judy and Noah Fant looked good last week. Are you starting both of them? I think Fant is someone I'm definitely starting.
Bant,
Jerry
you're
Jeudy, though.
starting. Judy.
Fant,
Not
still
yet.
outside my top 10 for me. just because the defense is a lot better. But I'm not going to be surprised if he ends up being top 10 or top 5 this week, just because of how great of a performance. He didn't have any fantasy points in the second half though. I think he just finished in our league with 19, and then after that, so I mean they also
19 still a
it is
boatload for
I would
tight
have
ends.
been happy if I had him and he scored 19.
Yeah, I'm starting Noah Fant, lower
Definitely
end
feeling
tight
good
end one
about
option.
him.
Feel good about him starting him. Jerry Jeudy, desperation flex. I got him at like wide receiver 48. So on to the other side of the ball, Big Ben, solid quarterback option. I got him as a top 15 play. I would think that you guys both have him around that same area.
Yeah, I have him at 13.
Both? Who's both? There's 3 of us.
Both Q and Matt's rankings.
Yeah.
I'm more.
I got him at
confident-
14.
Yeah, I'm more confident in him than Wentz and Stafford. But I think he was hurt that last game. That's worrying me. Just 'cause he's wearing a whole coat sleeve on his arm.
He
fine.
wasn't hurt.
He was
He
limp.
played the whole
Q,
game.
he was
He's fine.
limping
Wait,
and he
do-
was wearing a coat sleeve. What
Must
does
we
that mean?
quote what he said from the last pod that he got hit by a
Oh
bus,
my-
hit by
It
a
was
And
train,
then he
his
was
hit by-
first
hoping he
game
fell off a
back.
bike.
It
Yeah.
was
Plain
his
Today
first
he
game
probably
back.
feels like he fell off a
He's
bike now.
fat. The bigger
Plain-
you are, the harder you fall.
Yeah.
Planes, trains, and automobiles. That's
Yeah,
what
he was
got hit
getting
by.
beat up last week. He was getting beat up last week. Big Ben should be fine. Start him as a low end quarterback option if you don't have any other options. Juju top 10 play this week for you guys after a huge week 1.
Juju top 10. I have him at 13.
Juju.
Not top 10. Right
I moved
outside the top 10.
I
have
moved
him
him
at
into my
11.
top 10. I
He's
moved him
at
at 9. I wanted him to prove it to me without AB there to be that number 1 pure option, and he looked really
He
good. So
looked very good last week.
I think they're
I'm
going to be
not
an
gonna
aired
lie.
out team. I think Juju's top 10. And
But
I
I-
personally think Deontay Johnson's a buy low if someone's worried about him.
Yeah. I just want to see more consistency out of Juju, but I definitely do feel good about Deontay Johnson if you own him.
I need to see more
Showed a lot
TikTok dances in the end zone. That's what I need to see.
Yeah.
That'll
that was
move
fine.
in my top 5.
Yeah, I like Deontay Johnson too. He had a lot of targets. He was very involved. He started off slow with the muffed punt, obviously. Probably might scare some owners away. If you're able to get him in any leagues, try and get him. I think he's going to be a solid option, kind of like Emmanuel Sanders was years ago and Juju was years ago with AB on the other side. And I think he definitely has some upside. Other than that, if James Conner's hurt, if his ankle injury is that serious and he ends up missing a game, Benny Snell must start.
Must
I
start.
smell a Snell.
I don't think
Of
he's
course.
must start, but I could see him being the role like James Conner when Le'Veon Bell was out for that year. Like he was solid, so I wouldn't feel bad putting him in there.
Yeah,
I
Mike
mean-
Tomlin said he's going to be the workhorse. So
Okay.
That year that Le'Veon Bell was hurt, James Conner was a must start.
Yeah.
So I think if James Conner is out, Benny Snell is going to be a
Well,
must start.
Benny Snell's out, then I guess the next guy's a must start also.
yeah.
No,
Jalen
that is
Samuel.
not true.
Bring me in
Jalen, please do not start Jalen Samuel, even even if he's out.
All right, on to the pick 'em for this one. Broncos or Steelers?
Steelers.
I'm thinking Steelers as well.
I think the defense is just too good for a young Drew Lock.
Yeah, I gotta go Steelers.
Pre-game, Matt was talking about the Broncos.
Wait. Who'd you guys go?
We all went Steelers.
Oh, easy peasy. Clean sweep again.
All right, on to the next one here. Jaguars at the Titans. Derrick Henry obviously must start. He's had huge games against the Jaguars in the past, including that 238-yard, 4-touchdown performance in 2018. So got to start him, no doubt. Gardner Minshew startable this week if you're desperate.
You need,
Yeah,
you need to
If
be
you're desperate.
Yeah, I think Tannehill's actually the better option in this game as a streaming quarterback if
Yeah,
he's available.
definitely.
You think so?
He
I
had
think
some-
so.
He's playing a bad defense compared to the Titans.
I would
got
take
Tannehill
Minshew. I would take
17.
Minshew over Tanny this week.
Got Tannehill at 17. I have Minshew outside my top 20.
Yeah.
Minshew only
I-
threw the ball 20
I
times.
literally
though.
have Minshew 16, Tanny 17.
Yeah, so it's a very close toss-up. But
Very
I like
close.
Tannehill personally. James Robinson pretty much looked like he was the only running back on that team. Chris Thompson was pretty irrelevant, so I would feel confident starting him a little bit. Just if you're like desperate for a running back, he proved that he can handle that workload. You guys like him this week at all?
I'd still look elsewhere.
Yeah.
I'd still look elsewhere too. I got him outside the top 30, but like if you needed to start a running back, if you had Marlon Mack or something, I would play.
Right,
him
yeah.
there.
Yeah. I would feel good about having him on my bench just in case like anything else happens to your other running backs, but I wouldn't I wouldn't jump the gun on starting him.
And AJ Brown bounce back week this week, 5 catches for 38 last week. You think he obviously has a bounce back against a better matchup?
Has to.
Sir.
He bounces back, but I also think Corey Davis does not shy away. I think he also has a good game.
He
Yeah,
might
as long
not
as he
even play.
plays. As long as he plays, he did miss practice.
Oh,
That's true. Yeah, I got
Wow.
AJ Brown ranked 17. I think he has a really good bounce back.
Yeah, I got him at 14, so I like that matchup a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And DJ Chark, most likely starting him depending on your options.
top 20 guy.
Like I
I'm
said earlier, I'm starting. The sole reason I'm starting Gallup over him is
Shootout game.
matchup based.
Yeah, that's the only reason you're starting him is if you have a deep wide receivers on your team. Other than that, I'm still starting DJ Chark.
Yeah, DJ Chark, you can't go wrong.
All right, pick him for this game. Jaguars or Titans? Who you got?
Titans.
Titans.
Do you wanna
Everybody
hear-
said it at the same time.
Do you want to hear an early joke?
No.
If
Wait, I want to hear it.
Go ahead.
if the
Kinda gotta get
Jaguars,
moving, though.
if Jags is short for Jaguars and Vikes is short for Vikings, what's short for Titans?
Tights.
No, tits.
Tights.
That's
That's not how you pronounce it.
The Tights.
Titans.
All right.
The
Anyways,
mittens.
let's
Like
keep it moving
Hughes
here. We got a lot of
Morrison.
games left to get through. So Lions at the Packers. We did discuss Aaron Rodgers a little bit earlier in this podcast, if he was elite or not. You guys, I think he's definitely a top 10 option this week.
Yeah, you're feeling good starting him.
Yep.
You saw what
Especially-
Trubisky just did today.
Especially if Galladay's back, I think that game could also end up being a shootout.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Matt Stafford's a solid option this week. They're going to have to throw a ton this game to stay up with the Packers.
Yep.
Aaron Jones, I think obviously a starter. You guys have him in your top 10 this week or no?
I have him at number 10.
I
He
have him
had
at
a
12,
Jones,
right
I have him at
outside.
number 9,
Number
right
9.
inside.
I got him
Number
at 12.
9.
I
Get
got
a number 9, dummy.
got someone we'll talk about in a little bit over him that might be a little bit controversial. But anyways,
Sean
Uh,
loves controversy.
Devontae Adams, you guys think he's the number 1 wide receiver the rest of the season after such a big week 1?
strong
Rest of the
possibility.
season, that's steep.
That
But
is steep.
I definitely have him number 1 this week.
Not Michael Thomas anymore, so somebody's got to take over the throne. Michael Thomas is going to miss time.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, I got DeAndre Hopkins as my number 1 personally.
But still, you got to think Packers don't have anyone else to throw to on that field besides Devontae. Okay,
What do you-
Lazard.
Lazard
We
and
literally
MVS both
talked
weren't
about Lazard and MVS last
I
podcast.
said, give me another.
Are you
week
here or are you
before-
just like
give me,
in
give me
outer
another
space?
week before I consider them relevant? Devontae Adams. Sorry, would you rather have MVS or Christian Kirk? MVS or who else did we say finished? Oh, or Emmanuel
Larry Fitzgerald.
Sanders.
I
No,
don't-
like if we're
I-
going to talk
I
about
see
number
what you're saying.
ones,
Wait, if MT's there, I'd rather have MVS over Sandy.
you feel better starting Adams because his other number 2 is not really on
Yeah,
his.
I see where
hear
I
what
see
you're
where
saying.
you're coming
We're
from.
splitting hairs. Devontae Adams, top 3 wide receiver.
I'm
Most
smelling what you're
rest of
stepping
the
in.
season. Devontae Adams, start him. Don't bench him. If you bench him, you're dumb. If Galladay's
Stupid.
back,
Quit fantasy forever.
if Galladay's back, also start him. I would feel confident, roughly top 15, just depending on if he gets re-injured. That's the only
Let's
thing that would
hope,
concern
let's
me.
hope not.
But he's not practicing as of Wednesday, so just keep an eye out on him. moving
Taking
forward.
a Galladay day.
Marvin Jones is a nice option, especially if Galladay doesn't play. I think he's had big games against the Packers in the past. I think it might have been last year, 2 years ago, where he had like 160 yards and 2 touchdowns against them. So
I feel like Marvin Jones always flies under the radar, but he's like a solid flex option if you don't have any other options. And especially if Galladay's out, I think he's a solid wide receiver too this week.
Remember
and-
that year he broke out,
Yep.
or just had like a big year.
Yeah. I think it was the first year with the Lions. Well, he also had a pretty
Good.
good year with the Bengals. But
Yeah,
onto the Lions backfield, Swift, AP, carry on. Do you feel confident starting any of them or just kind of avoiding it right now?
I'm not
Avoiding-
starting any of them.
if
Yeah.
you have AP and you don't have any other options, which I would hope you do, I'm starting AP.
Me personally, I know that Miles Sanders is going to play this week, but if he were to not play, I was going to start Naeem Hines over DeAndre Swift.
That's
I'd agree with that too.
fair.
All right, pick them for this game. Lions at Packers. We all taking the Packers like I am.
I feel like it's always so close with these two.
I'm taking the Packers.
I'm taking Packers.
Yeah, it's safe as Packers. If you want to be cute, go Lions, which I can't blame you if you do.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be a good game. Matt?
Wrong. I'm going to go Packers.
The
Yes,
brooms are out.
Sorry.
On to the next one here. We got the Bills at the Dolphins. Let's keep it rolling. We've been kind of going crazy with some of these conversations. Josh Allen, top 5 again. Definitely in this favorable matchup. I think you have to start him.
Yep. Got him right at number 5.
Yep, I got him at 5 as well.
Also,
Are you guys starting any Dolphins this week?
Mike Gesicki, only because I have to.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
only if you're
Other
desperate.
than
If
that,
you have other options that are solid,
Unless
elsewhere.
no.
Devontae Parker's healthy, but I'm still nervous about the matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Preston Williams hasn't shown much through 1 week.
Yeah, I'm nervous. On the other side of the ball, Diggs' stock will be up if John Brown misses this game. He does have a foot injury. If they both play, I think they're both viable options for flex.
If John Brown is out, I think this has a possibility of being Diggs' best game of the season.
Let's hope.
I would agree.
You saw that they can both perform though on the field at the same time. Diggs had 16 total points, and I'm not sure what Brown had, but
Right,
they were both
yeah.
getting their own.
And especially if Brown's out, I think Diggs just skyrockets.
And for
He was good even with Thielen on the other side.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't ask
For-
Sean that though.
yeah, not a big Diggs guy, but I still think he will have a big week. Moving on to the Bills backfield, Singletary, Moss. I think we still need a couple more weeks to see how this shakes out. But I think both are flex options this week.
I'm
Yeah,
still waiting for my check from one of these guys that I gave help to, tell him to put Zach Moss in.
Yeah, he
If
did
they
end up
watch
scoring.
this tomorrow, they'll see.
Pick them for this game. Bills or Dolphins?
Bills.
Bills.
Come on now. Come on
A
now.
lot of these games have been pretty easy so far, but I think it's gonna be a
Miami
little-
Miracle? I think not. Bills.
Yeah, Bills. Don't ever say that again.
Sorry.
Still got a few more games to get through. So
Don't ever.
Vikings at the Colts. Kirk and Phil startable? Not really, unless you're really desperate.
I mean, people are asleep on Kirk.
I
Yeah,
think Kirk's a solid
Kirk-
option if you're desperate.
He's-
He lacks upside. Yeah, I'm not,
He
like,
lacks
feeling great.
upside in fantasy purposes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's like the only reason I'm hesitant on starting him or either of those quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But I think if I had to pick one of the two, I'm definitely picking Phil.
Yeah,
think-
Phil, just because he's
Yeah.
throwing that shit.
This does have shootout potential, though. So you never know. They both had pretty bad defenses last week, gave up a lot of points. Rodgers
Mhm.
blew up, and the Colts gave up 3 touchdowns to Minshew. So
Exactly.
Yikes.
Adam Thielen and Dalvin Cook, both must starts, pretty much matchup proof. You're
I
starting both
wouldn't
of them.
say that
Boom, boom,
yet
boom,
about
boom, boom,
Thielen though. I wouldn't say that, but before
Who are you
Thielen's-
benching? Who are you like? Where do you have Adam Thielen ranked that you would bench him?
I have him at.
Please tell me where you have Thielen ranked.
Can we not even talk about this?
No, I want to hear where he
Okay,
has him
I have-
ranked
I
and
have
if he's
number-
benching him.
I have number 7. I guess he would move the 6 if Godwin's out. But
I have him at number
match-
5.
Mute
You
him,
are
Sean.
benching
Mute
your
him.
7th ranked
matchup
wide
proof,
receiver.
though, you're not going to feel good about him every week. I would say.
I'm feeling good against.
I'm feeling good about him.
Unless he's like playing like the toughest defense in the league. Like
I think
I'm
I've
still
just been-
starting him. You
Me
have to
being a
start him.
Thielen owner, I'm still starting him against the Rams, even if Jalen Ramsey's following him.
I think
I'm starting him against the Pats if Stephon Gilmore's following him.
I've always just been more asleep on him, and I guess I've been a bigger Diggs guy than Thielen. But
Always been a
I-
Thielen guy. All right. Anyways, let's ignore that. We're starting Adam
Yeah.
Thielen this week.
That
and
was
most
horrible.
weeks,
I'm not saying sit him. I'm
well,
not
that's
saying-
what we're
No,
saying. He's startable. He's matchup proof. You're starting him as a top 15
He's playing the
option
Colts,
and the
not
worst
the-
option. Okay, if he's playing Jalen Ramsey, are you not? Are you ranking him outside your top 20?
Not
No,
top
you're
20.
starting. Exactly.
You're
He's-
starting him.
You're starting Adam Thielen where you drafted him. Anyways,
Oh,
Ty bounce
cute.
back week. Yes.
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 Big
That,
week for
that
T.Y.
was
Hilton
my
coming in.
buy low on last podcast. I think he's gonna have a big bounce back week. The rest of the season is gonna be all right. He just needs a little time to get used to Phil throwing to him instead of not throwing him. I know he's small, but he's not a football small.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think Ty is a good start this week and every week moving forward.
Yeah. And Jonathan Taylor or Naheem Hines. Who do you feel more confident starting this week?
I'd give it a few
Jonathan
more
Taylor.
weeks.
I'm still starting Taylor personally.
I'm going Hines. I mean, you're gonna start both, but I'm
Yeah,
still gonna
start both
feel.
if you have one of them.
I'm
Yeah.
feeling better about Hines for say like a couple more weeks. I want to see what Taylor can do on the ground.
I agree with you.
I just like Taylor's upside. You saw Aaron Jones get like at least 60 rushing yards last week. Not too many carries. I think Jonathan Taylor could torch this defense. And Naheem Hines is definitely going to be involved if they fall behind. So both are startable options. But I like Taylor a little bit more.
I agree with Sean.
Paris Campbell, flex option this week if you need a wide receiver. Definitely not someone like you're definitely have to start, but keep him on your radar. 13 points last week.
Q,
Gonna
should we
get a lot of
start
targets.
him over Adam Thielen?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there's weeks we're gonna start Thielen and just not feel the best about Thielen.
What do you?
I mean,
You'll downgrade him a little bit, but you're starting.
Okay, I guess he's matchup proof. You can say that about
He's an elite wide receiver. You can say it about a lot of top 10 wide receivers.
elite.
Oh my goodness.
Q.
I'm done with this. Anyways,
Oh my
Jack
God.
Doyle, tight end 2 option. If you need a tight end, if you're desperate, he's probably out there in some leagues.
Yeah.
Q needs
Start
him.
plug him
Some
in.
me.
people, some people think the other people are a little too desperate out there that need Jack Doyle.
Yeah.
You need Jack.
Anyways, pick him for this game.
I need to-
Vikings at Colts.
Muzzle for Matt. I'm going. Yeah, Vikings.
Yeah, Vikings.
Come on,
Oh.
say it. Say it.
Who?
I'm just
You
waiting
guys
for
gonna say the Colts?
I'm going with the Colts.
What? I'm taking Vikings still.
The dark horse. I'm still going Vikes.
Yeah, I like that team better. All right, on to the next one here. Football team at Cardinals. Just a random football team. Anyone relevant on the football team this week?
That shit makes me laugh. every time.
No.
Antonio Gibson flex option. I think that's at best.
McLaurin,
Logan
yeah,
Thomas,
at-
desperate.
Absolutely at best.
Yeah, and Terry McLaurin. I think that's probably the only one you're starting week in and week out.
Yeah.
So is he matchup proof?
No.
Oh, he's not matchup proof. He's
There's a
definitely got
difference
little bit
between
of a
you
tougher
start him
matchup.
every week and matchup proof.
I was
No,
down on Terry McLaurin last week because he had Slay on him. and he ended
Uh,
up
I'd
with
bet
11.
I'd bet money that Gator starts McLaurin every week.
I would start him every week.
He's got him
So then
benched right
he's
now.
matchup proof. Okay, take
In a
that bet away.
12-team league, he's a top
You
20
said
wide
take that
receiver,
bet
give or take
away.
like 3 or 4 spots. So,
Somebody clip it.
anyways,
Use it.
all right.
Okay.
Q's going crazy over here.
Yo, he's berserk.
Kyler Murray was actually on my pass list last week. I had him as QB 11. This week, I am taking that statement back. I said Kyler Murray was going to be my MVP
Top
for the
30.
season. He proved it to me against one of the best defenses in the league. Kyler Murray is my 3rd ranked quarterback this week and probably going to be top 5 for me moving forward until I see him have a bad game. So,
For sure,
Love
top
Kyler
10
Murray.
every week. Top
Nice.
3 this week.
Number 6 for me. I just think there's a couple guys ahead of him that have a better matchup.
Kyler Murray's got one of the best matchups. Washington football
Yeah, he
team.
does.
Josh Allen.
I think he has
guess
the second best matchup.
Josh Allen
actually.
has a case, but
Josh
I
Allen,
would still start Kyler Murray.
Dak, and I would say Russ just because of how good of a performance he had week 1.
I would say Kyler has like the most weapons.
I think
out
Kyler
of,
has
out
a
of
lot
most
upside.
quarterbacks.
Yeah, he's got a lot of weapons. He's got a good team behind him, and he's a good quarterback. He's putting up numbers.
Dude, this man
D-Hop.
has Christian Kirk. I mean, Larry Fitz as his wide receiver 3,
Yeah.
and Kenyon Drake and Chase Edmonds in the backfield.
All right, we're getting
It's a-
close to Thursday
just
night
name
football
all
here.
team players.
We're getting close to Thursday night football here, so let's keep the ball rolling. D-Hop, obviously, top 3 wide receiver this week. You're going to be starting him.
Yeah.
Christian Kirk, bounce back week. I like him this week. If you're looking
Yeah.
for a flex, I think this is his time to break out. I'll talk about a little bit about him later. But Kenyon Drake, Chase Edmonds. Are you worried about Chase Edmonds at all? Or are you just still starting Kenyon Drake no matter what?
I thought he'd have a bigger role cutting into Drake's time, but right now I'm still confused with his backfield. I was high on Drake. Now I'm not feeling the best about him.
I got him at 13. Favorable matchup. I'm not too worried this week.
Yeah, Drake at 11.
Drake, I got him at 13.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pick him for this
You
game.
guys share
Cardinals.
rankings? Yeah, Cardinals.
Easy. Easy.
Yep.
We also
Easy.
said that week 1 for the Eagles, and look what happened.
All
I
right.
can't. I
Shut
can't
up.
go against D Hop.
There were some upsets. We also said Colts, so there's going to be upsets.
Is that
R.I.P.
an
Survivor
upset,
That's why I
pool.
picked the Giants earlier.
Yeah, RIP.
Anyways, Ravens at Texans should be a pretty good game this week. We saw the Texans versus the Chiefs on Thursday night football last week. That game was pretty entertaining. Lamar locked in his top 2 quarterback
Number
pretty much
one.
every week. I got him number 1 this week personally. We saw what Mahomes did. He was able to throw pretty much all over the place. I think Lamar is still, with that rushing ability, gives him even more upside. Mark Andrews, elite.
Yep.
Definitely starting
He
him
had
too.
some crazy catches in the end zone last week.
As
Top
Chris
3.
Berman would say.
I got Mark Andrews.
Come
at 2
on,
this week.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How do you
he's
guys feel
elite.
about Hollywood this week?
I feel.
I got him
good
as a
about
wide receiver 2-ish option. I got him at 25.
like in between wide receiver 2 flexish territory.
Sounds about
Yeah,
right.
more flexy for me.
But
Yeah.
I definitely feel comfortable starting him.
Yeah, he's got some upside. He's definitely got the big playability. So,
Yep.
Sean Watson was scary last week. Very scary until the last like 10 minutes of that game where he was able to get 2 garbage time touchdowns.
He pulls through, baby.
Do the Ravens allow that
Are you
this week?
still confident starting him, especially after the Ravens depleted the Browns last week?
Yeah.
I have him this week as my.
I got him at 9, so I'm
Yeah,
still
I-
confident.
I
You still
have
have to
him at
start him
9.
if you have him, but I'm a little bit nervous.
D-Watt, I have at
Uh,
8. He is a much better quarterback than Baker Mayfield,
Agreed.
and he knows how to utilize his weapons, and he also uses his legs.
Yeah.
And
Really
I
want to
think.
argue Baker over D-Watt?
No, no.
Are you going to argue Baker?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I was ready to argue.
Gator would. We got to get Gator on here.
I still think
Gator
Gator
will be a
get-
guest eventually.
When is Gator a guest? I can't wait for
This
that.
game
I
is
want him
so-
right here next to me.
We'll have him soon.
Please don't.
Anyways, David Johnson, a tougher matchup this week, but we saw his potential last week. I think he's still a solid RB2 option.
Yep.
You guys would agree with that.
If
this
you're a
week.
Johnson owner, you're
Yeah.
feeling good about last week
What-
going into this.
I'm pretty sure I had David Johnson as like the sneaky number 1
Yeah,
running back.
I do have him ranked 18 this week, but I think he could break out for another good game.
I have him at 13, right outside of RB1 territory.
I got him at 19, so I'm a little bit nervous about Baltimore, but I still think he's solid RB2 option.
Yeah.
Will Fuller, pretty much wide receiver 2 moving
Love him.
forward
Oh,
at this
yeah.
point.
He's
As long
getting
as
his
he's
work
healthy.
in.
I got him
as
at
he's healthy.
24.
We're gonna say this every week for Fuller. As long as
Yeah.
he's healthy.
As long as Fuller's
Fuller-
healthy, start.
I have him right outside of wide receiver 2 territory. I'm at 29.
Yeah, I got him at 24. So I'm a little bit higher on him than you are.
27 for me.
Confident. Even against Baltimore, I think he's just going to get the volume.
Yeah, that defense is scary.
Yeah. Pick him for this game. Who are you taking?
Easy
Baltimore.
For me,
Baltimore easy. I think it's gonna be they're gonna route the Texans this game.
I don't want to show this number because like I'm embarrassed, but
They're
like
gonna Didn't Dave Worth RIP Dave, didn't you?
yo, we don't mention that name on there.
all
Told
right,
you
3
that.
more games to get to before we do our breakouts of the week. Chiefs at the Chargers. Mahomes, obviously, you're starting Mahomes. Let's not talk about it. Just set it and forget it. Next,
Even on your bye.
Yeah,
Eckler,
right.
Eckler and Keenan Allen both struggled last week. Are you nervous at all starting them in this a little bit more, I guess, also another favorable matchup?
You got to start him.
Keenan, I'm still a little nervous, but Eckler, I think he's gonna bounce back to be what we thought he was supposed to be coming into the season, week 1.
Yeah, I got Eckler as my RB8. Keenan has my wide receiver 13, so I'm pretty confident on both personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh Kelly, is he startable?
No,
Not until you see more.
I'm gonna see
See more.
I need to see a lot more.
I
A lot
don't feel
more.
comfortable starting like any running back 2 on their own team on like in my fantasy lineup. Because if
99s.
you're but that's like a toss up right now. You
Well,
don't know
yeah.
you don't know who's number 1 or
He
number
could be
2.
number 1 now.
Yeah, I guess there are more like split backfields. Obviously, Eckler had the majority of the stats. I'm not starting Josh Kelly, but I think
Yeah, no.
he's a desperation option if you need somebody. Hunter Henry was very involved week 1. He had 5 catches for 73 yards, and he's usually finding the end zone more. So you guys feel confident starting him this week?
Yeah,
I
he's
do.
Top
I do.
10 tight end for me this week.
Yeah, I got him right outside top 5 at 6, so I'm pretty confident.
Yeah.
6.
7 for me.
I got him right at 8.
All around the
All
same
there.
area, starting him if you have him. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, locked in. Start them all. Don't even consider benching any of them. Start them all.
Please do not bench anybody on the like any major role in the
The
Chiefs.
only other one
I
that
was
you would consider
about to
starting would
say.
probably be Sammy Watkins as a
and
flex
that's a little
option,
iffy.
and that's it.
A little iffy.
I wouldn't feel too confident, but he definitely had a good week 1. So if you need to start him, start him. Pick him for this game. Seems pretty obvious. Kansas City Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Chiefs around the board. All right.
Chef.
Easy
Sweet.
peasy lemon squeezy.
Squeezy. All right.
Easy.
Second to last game here. Patriots and Seahawks Sunday night football. Cam is back.
Cam is back.
Cam is back? So we're done?
Cam's
Cam
back.
never left.
No, he left. He was gone the whole year.
I
He
liked
did actually
Cam's
leave.
performance.
He did.
But-
leave.
Cam was
One-
hurt.
It
but
makes me a
people
little
forgot
nervous
who
to not really
Superman
pass the
was.
ball at all. This was like almost like a college offense against Miami. He
That's
threw for,
fine
like
with me.
75 passing yards or something like that.
But you did see.
But he had
Yikes.
75 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. So he's pretty much like an RB1 in your quarterback slot. So
As long as you get in the end zone, I don't care how you do it.
Falcons were throwing all over the Seahawks. I think Cam has a big game this week.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think Cam's going to be able to pass the ball more.
As
this
well, I
I
think
know they
hope
play
so.
the Dolphins.
Edelman has a big bounce back game.
Seahawks are obviously going to be more competitive, so
Yeah.
he's going to have to throw more.
Yeah.
Yeah, Edelman's solid option this week. Definitely start him. They're going to have to throw more to keep up with the Seahawks offense compared to the Miami Dolphins offense. Sony Michelle, James White. You've confident starting either of them? I kind of like James White this
yeah.
week
Yeah, I was gonna say
against the Seahawks. They're going to have to throw more. I think James White's going to be more involved.
I have him right outside my top 20. number
Sony, you're only
21.
starting if you're absolutely desperate and you need him to fall into the end zone and praying that Cam doesn't sneak it in.
It's sad he was so good at one point.
I actually don't trust either of them. I have them both outside of my top 30.
I got James White at 25, so I'm a little bit more confident than you are. I think he's more of a flex play than an RB2. So,
Yeah.
other than that, Russ, Chris Carson, Metcalf, Lockett, they're all studs. You're
Put 'em
starting
in
to
your
see,
lineup.
you're starting the Seahawks
Put them
offense
in
if you
your
have 'em.
Q
lineup.
might sit a couple of them.
I
Yeah,
got 2 of them. I'm starting them both.
Yeah.
I'm
Greg
feeling
Olsen.
better. No.
So you guys was trying to sell high on Chris Carson.
Greg Olsen, desperation
I
tight
didn't-
end or no?
Wasn't saying whatever.
I need a tight end, but I'm
No,
not
I
starting
don't want
Chris-
Greg
I'm
Olsen.
not starting Greg Olsen.
Yeah, I'm not starting Greg
Leave him
Olsen.
on the
unless I'm
waivers.
absolutely desperate or 2 tight end league or something like
Nah,
that.
nah,
Weird.
nah, nah, nah.
This game's pretty straightforward, so pick 'em. Patriots or
Straightforward.
Seahawks.
I think this is going to be a close.
I'm taking
Sunday night
Seattle.
football game. Yeah, I'm going Seattle though.
I'm going Seattle too.
Both man.
Little
Seattle at home.
flush.
It is.
Definitely feel
Yeah,
more
it is in
confident.
Seattle.
Matt,
Fans.
last
Matt
game.
went Seattle.
Yeah, Matt's at Seattle.
Do you think Unc will be there?
He might be.
No, highly doubtful.
I don't think they
there's
have fans.
Well,
Right.
I drive
Uh,
planes.
Last
They're
game,
sneaking.
Monday Night Football. New Orleans Saints at the Raiders. Michael Thomas's injury impact. Obviously, we talked about it a lot last podcast. So you guys feel good starting Emmanuel Sanders and Jared Cook this week?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I feel
Definitely.
very confident in that.
And Drew Brees is still going to be a top 10 option despite Michael Thomas not playing. I got him at 8. You guys have him in top 10?
I also have him at 8. Yes.
Yes, I do. I actually have him outside the top 10 right at 11. But
Okay. So around
not
the
ve-
same
not
area.
very
You're
close.
starting him if you have
yeah.
him.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Jared Cook actually led them in receiving last week. So if you're looking for a tight end, if he's somehow available, definitely pick him up. Definitely startable
Yes.
this week.
And he is going to be their number 1 red zone target with Michael Thomas out, aside from if they give the ball to Kamara.
hmm
Hopefully
Exactly.
not, because I'm playing against him this week. Give it to Murray.
And Josh
Just
Jacobs.
give it to Jared Cook.
Josh Jacobs, we talked
Okay.
about him a little bit earlier on this podcast
Okay.
as possibly being number 1, 3 touchdowns last week. I think you got to start Josh Jacobs, obviously. No
Don't
doubt.
expect the same production though.
I have
Okay,
him
that's
ranked
worth-
top 10 this week. Number 8.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
got
I
him.
have an 8 also.
I got him at
but
9.
Not
so
scoring 3 touchdowns again.
all around the same spot there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I
gonna be
mean,
a
like, it's
RB1.
very rare that a running back
Yeah, yeah.
3 touchdown
2, maybe
performances.
2, maybe.
Yeah.
It might be difficult, but
Henry Ruggs a flex option this week.
desperate.
No.
Desperation. Yeah.
Oh,
14 team,
I'm not
16
I'm not
team league.
starting him.
Yeah, I'm not starting him. I got him at 49. So
I will
say-
super-
Better
super
options.
desperate.
It wasn't a bad week for any of the rookie wide receivers. I don't know off the top for Judy, but
Judy had a pretty good week too.
CeeDee Lamb
It was
was pretty
alright.
involved in the game, and Ruggs seemed to be pretty involved also. Wasn't he hurt? Didn't Ruggs get hurt? I thought Ruggs may have gotten hurt. Like in the
I
middle of
think
the
he
game or
did.
something.
I think he did get hurt at one
Yeah,
point.
he did get
He
banged
might have
up, but I
left
think
for a
he's
little bit,
going to
yeah.
be able to play this week.
Yeah, so they all seem pretty solid.
Darren Waller bounced back. Didn't really do too much. I think he had like 9 or 10 fantasy points. You feel like a big game coming from this week?
Yeah. I have
Better
him
than last
ranked
week.
Right at number 5.
Same. I think they're going to have to throw a ton this game. I think Darren Waller has a pretty solid week.
Yep.
Pick 'em. Saints or Raiders. I am taking the
Saints.
Saints.
I
Yep.
hope.
Nolans.
Oh, Saints.
I was a little bit nervous on this one actually, just because the Saints on the road sometimes they struggle, but I just think the Saints are the better team.
Yeah, they are.
Do
Even
I
with
want to?
Michael
Do I want to
Thomas
do it
out.
again and be the only one?
You
You're a
won't.
Raiders
Then
guy.
Don't do
You,
it.
t-
He's a
you
Derek
tell
Carr
us. You tell us.
I'll do it just for fun. I'll take the Raiders
Big dog.
Just for fun.
Go
for
ahead.
fun.
Might end up taking points on us. We'll talk about the standings as we get further into the season for picks. But let's move on to the last segment here. Breakout this week. I'll start us off. Christian Kirk versus Washington. Christian Kirk had 1 catch for 0 yards last week, so it obviously seems like a bad idea to start him after a struggling week 1. But he did have 5 targets. They were trying to get the ball to him down the field, and now he has a much more favorable matchup against Washington. I think Christian Kirk's going to be involved big time this week. I think he ends up catching a bomb. Start Christian Kirk if you need to at your flex, depending on what options you have. But I think he's definitely a high upside flex option this week.
I believe
Q,
that.
who do you have as your breakout this week?
All right, so pending injury, my first guy is going to be Benny Snell. I think that he did great with Connor out. He had over 100 yards and plenty of carries, 19 carries. Didn't get into the end zone, but that is bound to happen, especially if he's playing a whole game, not worrying about Connor coming in at all. But if Connor were to play, I still see Snell having a major impact. But another breakout would be AJ Green. I think he had a pretty solid first game with the rookie quarterback. He could have had a touchdown if it wasn't for a PI call, which would have been the game winner in that game. I think if he's healthy, and he says he is, like we said, he's going to be a guy that is bound to break out one of these weeks. And I think tomorrow against the Browns, prime time, good night for him to do it.
Yep. Matt, who's your breakout this week?
My breakout is one of the more obvious ones now that MT is out of the lineup. I'm going to go with Emmanuel Sanders. He had a touchdown last week. I think that his volume is just going to increase tremendously with the number one receiver out. He's going to get fed. Drew Brees is going to have to throw a lot. I mean, not necessarily a lot. They're versing the Raiders. So I just think that Emmanuel Sanders' production is definitely going to go up a lot now that MT is out, and he's the number one on that team with Drew Brees throwing to him.
Mm-hmm. Solid flex option for sure, and obviously has some upside. So you guys wrap it up here. Breakout of the week.
My guy that I've been riding with forever, AJ Brown. I love him.
Boy,
I think there's going to be no Corey Davis. Hopefully, that'll give him another good chance to break out.
Well, let's hope he's healthy in general as a person. But
Okay,
if he doesn't play for AJ
I don't
Brown,
want him. Listen,
for AJ Brown purposes.
you never
hopefully.
wish injuries.
No, that I never do. I never do. But maybe I just did. But I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. We
Yeah,
got you.
AJ Brown had 3 points in standard leagues, and that's sad. That's real sad.
That's a pooper.
That's a big
20 yards per
pooper.
Big
catch
pooper.
last year. You
That's a
expect him to have a big
big
play.
pooper.
I think Taney's gonna try and get the juices flowing with him. I think they're gonna get it going this game.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so.
I wouldn't be surprised. AJ Brown had a couple down weeks last year, but the other weeks he was outstanding.
All right, we're really pushing Thursday night football here. So Q, hit us with your joke of the week. Wrap it up. We won't have time for questions.
We
So
got
if
a
you do
quicker
wanna
one tonight.
If you, all right, go ahead.
You want to finish?
No, go ahead. I'll finish after. I want to hear your joke first. I'm trying to laugh.
I told my doctor I broke my arm in 2 places. He said, "Stop going to those places."
That might have been your top 3 jokes of,
It's a pretty good one.
of
Q.
all time.
I didn't have to
Oh
wait for the
my
punchline. It
God.
just came right at us. All right. That was pretty good. If you have any questions for Sunday, definitely hit us up on Instagram or Twitter at
Hit the line. Don't be
Super
shy.
FB Podcast. Make sure to follow us on all social medias. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're also on TikTok. We'll be recapping games and whatnot there. Follow us on Twitch if you're here for sure. We'll be live every Wednesday and Thursday moving forward. And definitely follow us on YouTube as well. So go subscribe there. If you miss a podcast for any reason, you can check us out there. Other than that, it's pretty much it. It's a wrap.
Yeah.
Peace out. Good
Yeah.
luck this week, week 2.
Doses.